Oh, we're on. We're live.
We are live.
I think we're live.
Russell says off air.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Education Show. I'm David Mills, and I am delighted to have on today's show two, for me, truly extraordinary teenagers. They've been home educated from birth, so they've never attended school. I brought them on the show today to learn about their experiences.
Hello,
everybody. Oh my gosh, the dog.
If you would just briefly introduce yourselves to us, your name.
I'm Mackenzie, and I'm 15 years old.
I'm Cameron, and I'm 17 years, and that's the dog. That's Bear in the background. Sorry, I'm Cameron, and I'm 17 years old. Yeah.
Great stuff. So, just wanted to explain to the viewers how we originally met. It was 3 years ago, believe it or not. Yep. 3 years ago, 2015.
Yes.
My understanding is that obviously you would otherwise not have got to experience anything like that.
No, because school. Having not gone to school.
No, because I've always loved the idea of prom, and then suddenly, like, it's, oh, we're not going to be able to have a prom, and then we're like, oh, wait, we can organise our own prom.
Let's just make our own prom.
Let's just do it.
Right, so essentially I offered to facilitate the process, hold space, but just share with those listening your experience.
Yeah, it was the Moonlight Prom,
that's
what it's called. And it was really fun because we got like a group of us together, and we started like organising and stuff. And everyone had their own input and stuff, and it was great because we'd organise it from. We invited the whole home ed group. Yeah, the whole home ed group. So like that it was quite a small hall, was like absolutely packed. It was hilarious because it was great because we started from the very beginning like nothing, and then when we got there it was like magical because we were waiting outside, and then like the grown-ups went in, turned all the lights on and stuff. And
we had live music.
Yeah. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, we did have live music, didn't we? Provided by Cameron.
And others.
And others.
Yeah.
So the kinds of things that you did. So basically, I made sure that you were ultimately responsible for every aspect of the proms organisation. So you sent emails to parents and to other kids in the home ed community. You decided on the theme, you decided on the price, you worked out the budget, you organised sound and lighting equipment. We went shopping around supermarkets, we were comparing different prices, different brands. You sourced fairy lights, you came up with the idea of a red carpet for the entrance.
Oh, the red carpet. The red carpet.
You had a mocktail, you had a mocktail bar as well.
That was great.
The mocktail bar.
But all of this, the whole thing was your idea. It came from you. And my only role was to hold space. And this project was the original inspiration behind Kids Create, which is an initiative I'm now looking eventually to roll out across the country. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm going to start with a few projects around the Hearts, Beds, Bucks area. But another project that we've been working on recently is we've been, of course, creating a short film. Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about that?
It's a journey. It's a journey.
It's a journey. Behind camera and in front of camera. It's basically just about I don't know.
Showing there are alternate ways to educate your child, or just to learn. Yeah, to learn basically outside the system. That
there are other ways of educating people than ways.
And it takes place in a box to begin with, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then
we've called the film Beyond the Box.
Beyond the Box. Beyond the Box.
Beyond the Box. I'll just share my take on it briefly before you take over.
Sorry. Yes, go ahead.
No, not at all. So my description would be it's a metaphorical exploration of life and education, both inside and outside the box. And by the box, we're referring to the prevailing societal paradigm or worldview.
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell. So now,
the worldly view of success.
What do you want to share?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that just kind of we're in a box, and then everything's very kind of the same way every day, and we all come in.
Don't give it away.
Well, I'm not gonna give too much away, but we find a way out by ourselves. We all work together and find a way out of the box, and then from there
we go on our own journeys.
We go on our separate paths, and that's a whole other bit of movie.
Yeah.
But the idea was that no matter where you go, you're always sort of like, so long as you follow like your truth, you're always gonna end up where you want to be.
Yeah.
Basically. That's
good explanation.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's our background. That's how we connected. Firstly through the prom, and then and we've been working on this short film for 18 months now. So it's been quite a long project.
It doesn't feel like that.
No, it has. Time has flown by.
Yes.
We've put a lot of time and effort and thought into it. And,
yes.
We should just mention our amazing, what should we call her? Our creative director, Sophie Wilson, who's been behind the camera.
Sophie Wilson.
Yeah.
Bossing us around.
She's brilliant.
Sophie was actually one of my former students from when I was a school teacher. So she's in her 20s now, but a bit of a budding film director. So we let her loose on this project. So she's had a big creative input to the project. It's been great to reconnect with her. Okay, now a lot of people are very, very fascinated to learn about, or to hear about, how you guys have managed to pick up the basics, as they're often called, or the 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic. Because my understanding is you've never actually been in a formal school setting. You've never received formal education or instruction. So let's start off with reading and writing. I don't know who wants to go first, but casting your mind back, how did you learn to read and write? That's my question. How did you learn to read and write?
I don't know, because I feel like there was never a set time where I was like, yes, I'm going to learn how to read. It was kind of, or
like a point where you were like, yes, I can read.
I can read, it was kind of a very slow process. But I started when I was about learning how to read, because before I was about 10 actually, I didn't just, all I cared about was playing and climbing trees and playing with my friends, and I just didn't really find any need. And then when I reached 10, I was like, you know what, it'd be kind of helpful if I learned how to read now. And what really helped with that is because I've grown up in a Christian background, and I just picked up the Bible one day. I was like, I'm gonna read the Bible, and I got halfway through Genesis, and I was like, okay, this is hard work. I'm gonna stop here. And then because we would since I was 9. Yeah, I guess it must have been 9. We started learning Latin, and every now and then we'd have to read a little bit,
like a Latin phrase.
Like a Latin phrase, exactly, in front of the class and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of, I learned from doing that.
I think that helped because it was very friendly environment where everybody was kind of at different stages.
We were doing.
They were different ages, and they were different stages of learning.
Yeah, we're all home educated.
You just mentioned the word class there. So what? Can you elaborate on that? So what?
Oh yeah,
a class.
Yeah, my mum.
By a home education group.
Yeah.
Yes.
My mum met this lady called Hazel, and she was a former Latin teacher, and so was it? I think she was a former Latin teacher. I'm not sure.
She knows Latin.
She knows Latin,
and she's
very
good
well.
at teaching it.
Yes, and so she's like, "Oh, it'd be awesome if we could get like a group together." And so about 7 of us got together at our house once a week on a Thursday morning, and we learnt Latin. But it wasn't like we didn't have homework for like the first 4 years of it, and so I don't think it was a formal class. It was kind of like, oh, we're getting together to learn Latin, and at the end of those 5 years, our Latin teacher was like, okay, so you kind of learnt it up to the standard of a GCSE. Would you like to take one? Because it's like you've got the knowledge, so you might as well take it, and then like you've got it written down on a piece of paper, basically saying you can do it. And so me and Cameron both took GCSEs, and out of 14 out of 15 students got A stars, including me and Cameron.
Wow!
And then the 40 took A. So A stars in Latin. So we're pretty proud of those.
So I'm just to be clear here, before we move on to you, Cam, hold on 1 second. Kenzie, so just to be clear here, you said that you didn't actually consciously start learning to read and write or read until around the age of 10 or 11. Is that?
Yeah, 10. I think it was 10 or 11.
And then in like 4 years later, you've managed to achieve an A star in Latin, GCSE level.
Yes.
So there you go. There you go, folks. For those that are worried about your children pre-7 haven't picked up a book, that for me is that's proof that it's not the end of the world. The other thing I wanted to ask you about the Latin situation, Kenzie, was the desire to study Latin something that came from within you, or was this something imposed on you by your parents?
No. I mean, my mum was like, "Oh, there's a lady that might be able to teach Latin." I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, that sounds fun." I mean, obviously at some point there was a bit of like, "Oh, I don't want to do my homework," and then it was like, "Okay, you know what? It's okay," and so yeah, there was the odd a bit of but apart from that, no, it was completely like me like, oh, this is fun, because Latin, especially because I'd only started learning how to read at 10, Latin is so phonetic. It's really easy to read. Everything is so phonetic, and the way it sounds, it's great.
It's not like English.
Not like English at all.
English is a hard language.
It's really hard. Yeah, technically everyone's still learning English, no matter how old you are. But yeah, it's
So it's an opportunity that was presented to you by your mum, but it was something that kind of sparked your interest, and you thought,
it was. Yeah, I don't know, because I would have never really picked Latin, because I know a lot of people pick Spanish or French or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, I was like, Latin sounds fun. Yeah, let's go for it. Because my mum was like, you can always just stop it if you want to. You don't have to do Latin if you really don't want to. Yeah. And then, but it was fun, and I was with my friends, and yeah.
Great, thank you, Kenzie. And Cam, was it a story for you, learning to read and write, or was it?
No, it was kind of when I was very young, 5. Let's call it 5. I was very into making drawing comics and just doing pictures and just creating characters. But a lot of times I'd want them to say things. I want to make speech bubbles, and I wanted them to say things in them. So I would often go to my mum and be like, "How do you spell this word, or how do you spell this word?" Or how once I kind of got the basics of spelling, I'd go to her and be like, "What is how do I make a th sound, if that makes sense? How do I?" And then she'd say TH, and then I'd run off and then come back with this very phonetically spelled drawing. It was yeah. But that's basically how I learned, was basically running to mum and being like, "How do I make this sound?" And then she'd say, "Oh, like this," and then I'd run away and do it.
So it was very much you kind of in charge of the process.
Yeah.
You say you learned phonetically, but it was very organic. And
it came from like a wanting to know.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for knowledge.
Sure, to serve your interest in comics at the time, right?
Exactly. So yeah, that was kind of what I needed at the time. And something my mum did was whenever I brought these like pictures back to her, and it was all like every word was misspelled, but she would just pick out one thing every time, and she'd always say one thing like, this is brilliant, but this is usually like this. So she'd pick out one thing every time, so like I wouldn't get too discouraged. But then I'd be like, oh, brilliant, and then I'd take in that knowledge and I'd remember it.
Instead of like picking out every single word that is misspelled.
Exactly, which would be all of them.
Which
probably wouldn't have been very encouraging. No.
So all of this.
In a more traditional school environment, the teacher might go through with a pen and highlight every single mistake.
Yeah. Highlight everything that was wrong.
Your mum's approach was just to pick out one thing, which
every time
you could improve on and share that with you.
Yep.
So, off the back of that, do you feel that having parents who are... I'm trying to phrase my question now. I think the question has an obvious answer, but it's along the lines of how important have your parents been in terms of facilitating
Not very
your
yes. No.
Oh, so important.
Very important.
That's a bit more about that.
It's I don't really know, because I feel like they are such a big part in it, and they are so supportive in what we do. Like
there's kind of like a certain kind of extra support, and like that helps your confidence when your teacher is your parent.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of like, I don't know, like you can go out with confidence. Like, because the way my mum did it, there was because I was never discouraged by anything. No. I kind of felt very confident going into it, and I never felt like, oh, I'm not very confident in
like
this, or
my parents would literally go with whatever I wanted to do. Like if like one year I wanted to learn karate, and my mum was like, okay, we're gonna take you to karate classes. And so it was just literally support is like one of the like foundations of learning, I think, because you just need that behind you to keep going.
Sure.
But
all right, great. I am keen to ask you a bit about your personal interests and your passions, but before we get onto that, let's get the boring thing out of the way. We've talked about reading and writing. What about numeracy and arithmetic? And in fact, I just wanted to preface this by saying that I did have a chat with Kenzie the other day about this, and her first answer was very similar to the first response she gave me to my question about reading and writing, which was, I don't know. And I think this is a key point to pick up on. It's a similar answer that I would get from students in the Sudbury schools that I visited or worked in over the years, where the students aren't following a prescribed curriculum. They are free to pursue their own interests, their own passions, and their learning is just up through living. You pick up these basics through living. And so the question, what did you learn today? They would just give you a completely blank look, like I don't know what I learned today. I was just living, doing, being, playing, creating, and
exactly. So someday in the future I'll learn what I've learned, because I'll be able to like just apply it. But I don't know.
Because my mum would like play games with us, like dominoes, or me and my nan would go and play shops
or cards.
Uno. It's great because at the end you have to count cards and see like what your point is. Exactly. And like like when I went around my nan's house, I played shops with her, and I'd have to give her the change, and that's just, it wasn't. I mean, at some points, how old were we when we started doing Matthew C?
I don't know. Maybe 8 or 9. I was 8 or 9. You would have been 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7. And it's like that wasn't even. I mean, it was curriculum, but we we did like a page a day or whatever. I don't think it was even that much at first. Like we literally do like a little sum a day, and it would just kind of keep
it fresh,
and keep it like on the right path of learning it. But it was still completely free and completely like just a tiny bit a day was fab really in the long run, because it wasn't making me and Cameron hate math, which was really good, because my mum like always said that she never wanted us to hate math, because math is great.
One day, like, I think we did turn around try and say sort of like, oh, I think because at that point we were doing more vigorous math and stuff, we were doing more every day, and it got to the point where we were like, oh, we hate math, and then at that point my mum was like,
no, don't say that.
Don't hate math.
Hate math.
And then at that point we kind of went a bit.
We went. I keep saying the wrong word. Autonomous. That's the right word. My mom was like, okay, so here's what we're going to do for 6 weeks or whatever she said. I think it was 6 weeks. We're going to be autonomous, and which is basically we're not going to be in a curriculum at all. We're just going to
stay to a structure. Yeah. If we feel like doing art today, we're going to do a painting. Yeah. If we feel like doing math, we're going to do some songs. Whatever we feel like doing in the day, whatever you want to learn, we'll just do it. That's what we'll do.
Learning through living.
Learning through living, exactly.
Because I think like you learn everything every day. Like, oh, I learned that to make my brownies the day before yesterday, I had to put the oven on to 180, and that's, I think, is really good learning.
Or you learned that on the packet it says you have to leave it in for this one, but you probably need to leave it in for a bit longer. That's something you learn.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I don't think learning has any kind of boundaries. I think learning is like gaining knowledge.
Gaining the nose.
Gaining the nose.
Yeah. But
great, thank you so much. Just a few moments ago, my screen cut out and I couldn't actually hear what you were saying. I think we lost connection slightly. So we did miss some of what you said, but I think if I can work out from what you said afterwards, it was a bit about the more structured curriculum that you started to follow. Just to summarize it, am I correct in thinking that you were explaining that it didn't really work so well for you, and eventually you decided to abandon it and go more autonomous? Was that essentially what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, my mum started, it wasn't my mum's fault at all, but my mum started increasing like
how much we were doing
a day. And then we kind of turned around to our mum and we were like, oh, we hate math.
We would like resent it every day.
Yeah, every day it would be a chore to do our math.
Yes.
And then my mum was like, you know what? I don't want you to hate math. Math is great. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the autonomous way and just learn through life. Like, if we're going to, like Cameron was saying, I'm not sure if you heard that about painting. If we want to do painting, we'll do painting that day. If we want to do a bit of math, we'll do another sum. Like, it's literally about 6 weeks we did like what everyone, and that 6 weeks turned into like a year, I think. But then we started to want to do math again. We started wanting to do all these
things.
Yeah, know things, exactly. So we were like, okay, we'll do that. And so we got back into a little bit more of a structure, and it was great, because that just really kind of helped us through that a bit.
Helped us to appreciate.
Okay, thank
you.
Exactly. Now, Cameron, I understand. Yes. Well, I say I understand. I kind of supported you a bit with it, but you recently took your GCSE maths.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Up until, is this right? Up until, was it last year? You'd never covered anything on the maths curriculum at all.
No.
But you had a desire. To get your GCSE in maths. Now, was there a reason for that? What I needed it for I needed a maths and English GCSE for my college that I needed to get into. I was already accepted, but I just didn't want to have to do the additional maths lessons or the additional English lessons. I just wanted to focus on the course, and so I was very determined to get this GCSE and pass it. So. I started September last year. I started revising GCSE maths.
So yeah, September 2015.
September 2015, I started revising GCSE maths, and then basically just kept working in it every day, doing like about 2 hours of math a day, sometimes 1 hour, but sometimes
depending on how you felt.
So, you know, every day I would do maths. Every day I would get through a couple lessons and just work through it and revise and work through it and revise, and then David helped me out with a lot with some of the like trigonometry and the
hard stuff.
Some of the hard stuff, some of the what's it? The
as a former school teacher, it would have been silly not to assist you in your process. But yeah, the amazing thing is, Cameron, is that you picked up the entire curriculum in a matter of months. And
yes.
Do you mind sharing your result with the world?
I got a B in maths, and that was brilliant. I also got a B in English, but I talk about maths, and that was brilliant. That was I was ecstatic.
Well. Yeah, very well done. Very well done.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. But perhaps it isn't amazing, because the point is, you had, as you use your own word, that determination to get it, because there was a reason for it in your eyes. You needed it to get onto your course, or not to get onto it, but you saw a purpose behind it.
So I wouldn't have to do additional.
My mum says jumping through hoops. Jumping through hoops to get to what you want to do, and GCSEs.
But you were prepared to jump through those hoops because you could
I was more than prepared. Yeah, I was very determined.
Come closer.
Thank you.
Okay, right. Big key question coming up. What is the number one question that you get asked as home educators?
I think we both know what it is.
Yeah.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah. Socialization.
That's really well. Just socializing.
Socializing. How do you socialize?
Okay.
So
there's a concern that as home educated teens,
it's really hard sometimes, because our mum just keeps us inside all day and locks us in our rooms. It's hard sometimes.
No, like when I say
some people say
when I say to people that I'm home educated, they're like, "Oh my gosh, how do you make friends?" Or "How do you socialize?" I mean, they don't say this, but they must be thinking like, "Oh my gosh, you must be antisocial." Like, I don't know.
Just hiding in your room in the dark.
Like, I don't know, because we my mum has always organised groups for us.
There's a huge home education community.
Yeah.
There's a huge home education community in Milton Keynes, and it's very like it's a great place. It's a great lot of really good people that we often meet up with and do projects with and workshops and just.
Yeah, my mum would do play dates and
did, mapping and.
Yeah, we did
geography,
Latin. Different subjects and stuff. Like we did mapping the world, and so at the end we could actually draw the whole world, which is cool. And then we did things. My mum does a wide game group. She doesn't do it anymore because Cameron goes to college now. Fancy.
Got my GCSEs.
What's wide game? What does that mean?
Wide games is basically a game
a big game
that you play
in the woods.
It doesn't have to be in the woods, but in a wide area, 40-40, not 40-40, but Capture the Flag, Cops and Robbers.
Big games like that. And we go every other afternoon, and we just play games all afternoon. It was great. Every other afternoon.
Every other afternoon.
Every other Thursday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday.
We don't do it anymore, but we did, and it was fun. It was great. Yeah. And that's how we meet people.
That's how you meet people, and that's how we introduce other people into the home ed community.
Yes, through those things.
Through those things. And
were you interacting with people only of your age?
Oh no.
No.
You just age is irrelevant.
Age is irrelevant. I think of them as mum and dad's friends. I think of them as my friends.
Yeah.
And the same with my friends' parents. It's not like Eli's dad, or it's not like Jack's dad.
Shout out to Eli. Shout out to Jack.
it's like no, that's Dan. That's Adam.
You don't know them as Mrs. Bloody Blah. You know them as That's whatever then it. That's Jeanette. That's Jan. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next question because I'm just conscious of the time. Really, really interested to know. So you guys have had freedom and time to figure out, presumably, who you are and what you actually want to do with your life. You've had an opportunity to really dive into your interests and passions, presumably at quite some depth. Yeah. Can you share with us?
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? What do you love?
I think yours is quite a good closer.
Okay, I'm a good closer.
Yours is quite good. I'll say mine. Well, mine isn't better, but Kenzie's is quite cool. I'm really into my passion is kind of always been in the performing arts and like theatre shows and movie making.
We've done musical theatre now. Well, we're not doing that anymore, but this is our 9th year doing it. But we haven't started it again. So this was our last year, but it was our 9th year. So
doing musical theatre. So we're very into like shows, and we've always like made like short movies with each other, and like we've always enjoyed movie making, and we were enjoying the movie making with David.
Yeah.
And so I've always wanted to go into kind of like the media with like theatre shows, like TV shows, like movies. I just wanted to be a part of that, and I found myself getting into more of the behind the scenes stuff with like the prosthetic makeup and like the effects makeup and everything. I really was very, very passionate about just making like scars and fake noses and fake things. Just all this stuff really, really intrigued me. And about 5 years ago, I just started doing it, and I kind of just started doing it by myself, and I just slowly progressed as I was going along, and eventually found a college that was just perfect, really, really good for me.
Yeah. Happened to be an hour and a half away.
Just got back from it. And so I'm studying like prosthetic makeup and costume design and prop design and puppet making, and just I couldn't be happier. It's brilliant. I love doing it. It's great, and that's my passion.
And you started with stop and what's it called?
Oh yeah, I've always been into like the arts and everything like that. So like I started with like stop motion animation with like the claymation.
Started from his comics.
Started from my comics. Moved on to sort of like claymation, and I tried to make a feature film, but that didn't work. And then I moved on to like painting in oils and then acrylic, and then I did like musical theatre and
just all the arts,
sculpting.
All the arts into one.
And then I just found something that really I felt I could do forever. I think you know when you found a passion, when you feel like I could do this forever. This makes me so happy I could do this forever. This isn't really going to get old.
No.
That's something. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that you were invited to help out at a college class at some point to share your expertise in with prosthetics?
Yes, I've been asked to do some work on a short movie for amateur dramatics company people. When they were making a film, I did like a bunch of like scars and cuts on them and burns and stuff. And then a little bit later on, I did some work for my friend's drama GCSE, and I went into school and applied makeup to them. And then later on, I did some stuff for an anniversary. It was a very spooky anniversary, and I did lots of like makeup stuff for that. And that was actually a paid job, so that's very exciting.
Oh, wow.
And then very recently, I've actually started doing workshops. And I've had one-on-one sessions before, and I've also had like group sessions before where I've had people say sort of like, oh, I really want to learn how to do this. So I've had like a one-on-one session with people. And then I've also done
recently
group.
You did your first.
And then I've also done like group workshops where we all start from scratch, sculpting all the way to making a prosthetic at the end and applying it at the end. And they get to make their own prosthetic. They get to make whatever they want, paint it however they want. I'm just there to kind of facilitate and tell them what to do. But without telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was
showing them.
That was very exciting. So I'm very excited about
Amazing.
Where
and take it from me, I've seen some of his work. I mean, seriously realistic.
It's a bit too explicit to put on.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, some of it is, but oh my goodness, I mean, this guy has really honed and perfected his craft. Believe me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cameron. So, Kenzie, over to you. Tell us about your personal passions and interests.
Well, like
over the years.
Since I was 4, on my 4th birthday, one of my mum's friends was like, "Oh, I know a lady who will give." One of my mum's friends was like, "Oh yeah, I have a friend who will do like a little pony class and like show Kenzie the ropes kind of thing." And Mum was like, "Yeah." And so since I was like 4 to I think I was 8, maybe when I was 7, I did this once a year. So I did it only about 4 times, and I just literally sit on pony, go around. But I absolutely loved it, and there was no one else in my family, like literally no one. I think my nan's cousin does this, only slightly, but no one else in my family does horse riding or any kind of
horsey stuff.
And so like I don't know where that came from. And so then when I was 8, I started like working at a stables, and then in return for working at the stables, I'd get an odd lesson, and then that went on for a couple of years, and then I stopped riding for a while because that person had to move on to a different stable, which I didn't know, and it was quite complicated. And then my mum bumped into someone at church and basically said, "Oh, I do this thing called natural horsemanship." And she basically explained to my mum having no clue what it is. And she comes back from church and she's like, "Kenzie, I'm at stay at church and she does natural horsemanship." And I'm like, goes straight in my head, like, what is that? So I go to the stables, and it's basically natural horsemanship is coming from like Native Americans, and where there's no saddle, no reins, just you and the horse kind of thing. It's kind of a bit like horse whispering, but not. It's
but less gimmicky.
Less gimmicky than horse whispering. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I've been doing that for 2 years.
Call it 2 years.
We'll call it 2 years. I think it's around 2 years. And yeah, and so I've been absolutely loving that. And yeah, my mum goes down to the stables with me when I have a lesson. And actually, it's amazing. The place that Cameron goes to college in Dudley, there's a place which is like the biggest natural horsemanship place in the country. It could be in the world. It's probably not in the world.
In the world.
I don't think it's in the world. I think it's in the country, which is still amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm basically going to be able to go down there when Cameron goes to, well, not every time he goes to college, but occasionally when he goes to his college, I'll be able to go down there and go there and
do natural horsemanship. Which is
it's just amazing, because I love every minute of it. Like even going down the stables and just being with the horses, I love, and brushing them and picking up their poo, I love. I know it sounds a bit weird, but it's just being around the whole horse. It's like, oh, Cameron's face. No, you only know it when you love it. Yeah.
So, Kenzie, do you have a clear idea in your mind of where you want to go with this in the future, or is that not important for you to know? Okay.
Yes, I do actually. Yeah. Basically, I want to go to different countries and work with orphans, because I actually had a testimony speaking over me, and I want to go to different countries and work with orphans through horses, because horses are so healing. Because to train a horse, you have to trust the horse 100% to get it to trust you back. And so orphans, or even children and adults who have been damaged in the past, and just working with horses is just, you can see the amazing results from it. So
very healing. It's
so healing. Yeah, what horses can do, it's just amazing. It's very much similar to dogs as well. So yeah.
I can relate to that. I spent a bit of time on a horse ranch in Canada, in the British Columbian Mountains, and she used the ranch owner used natural horsemanship techniques.
That's
and then
cool.
I came back to the UK and connected with somebody. I think it might have been in the Berkshire area, who does this kind of work with children. So yeah, I'm very familiar with what you're saying. In fact, it's something which I'm keen to explore a bit further, and maybe Kenzie, you can help me create some sort of kids create program.
That would be awesome.
Gets kids. I mean, the avenue that I've worked with kids and horses with, has been to do with confidence and self-esteem, but it's all the same kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really. Okay, guys. So one kind of final question. Well, double-loaded question, or two different perspectives to go to. Okay. Oh, I can't even find the right words. You know what I'm saying.
We understand what you mean.
It's okay.
We know what you mean.
It'll become clear in a second.
Either, is there anything else that you feel you have a burning desire to share about home education? That was going to be one question you could answer. Or the other was, I can't remember. Let's go with that one. Let's go with that one. It'll come back to me in a second. There was another one.
It's just there. A lot of people are kind of worried about.
Worried about
no, not about us, but like about stepping out of the box, basically. I see what I did there. And link to the film. And it's just literally, there are so many communities. I'm sure wherever you live, there are so many communities that are great, and like all over the country.
We'll be ecstatic to hear that you're stepping out of the box.
Yes.
And we'll be happy to help you with that first step.
Yeah. Depending on which country you're in, because that might be a bit hard.
We can't guarantee.
Yeah. But no, it's be brave, and like whatever you want to do, like if you feel like your child is not fitting in or whatever, just
not getting on in school.
Yeah, just be brave and take the plunge, like my mum did.
Take the risk.
Because that's the best thing. She's kind of, not because she's done amazing things, but like that's one of the best decisions I think she's like made, is not to put me and Cam in school. So
my second question just come back to me. I know what it was. It was going to be final comments from you. Any regrets? Any regrets on having been home educated? Do you feel you've missed out? Do you feel you've missed out in any way?
No,
I don't. If anything I've missed out on, it's been negative things. It's been like classroom drama, or like
classroom drama.
It's only been like negative things we've missed out on, because it's like, oh, we missed out on prom. No, we didn't, because we made a prom. Bringing it full circle.
And like my friends are like, so why don't you go to school? And we're like, well, to be fair, nothing.
If you were given the choice, would you rather go to school, though?
Because we're not saying anything bad about school, because some people love school, and that's awesome.
For some people, for some people, school is the best thing. People love going to school.
I think if it works for you, that's awesome.
But school is one option. School is an option.
Exactly. And there are other options out there, so just keep an open mind.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. You see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
This is going very well.
Wow.
Well, I just want to finish by thanking you both
it's
so
been
much.
A pleasure.
Thank you for having us. It's been brilliant.
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your experiences and insights with us. You are, well, a testimony to just what is possible when children aren't necessarily learning through a traditional educational route. Chris, I know you're just there in a technical capacity. Did you have any questions that you wanted to ask, or shall we call it a day there?
Just been listening to the to the TV show, and I think what came across from a sort of person from outside of obviously your relationship is that life is a whole bundle of fun there to be enjoyed.
It really is.
And I think that, you know, if you looked at the school system, and it's a question really, I mean, this isn't the demeanour of people who are going through the school system. This is that they are stressed, they are in a quite a bad way, they are not enjoying it, there's huge pressure, and you know, it looks like you guys are on a permanent holiday, and it's not that you're not learning at all.
No.
Just, but it's great that you're having such a great time. I'm just a little bit, very miffed that the school system isn't creating individuals like you.
Aww.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
It is a shame.
But David is here to make it so.
Oh, definitely not, no.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Cameron and Mackenzie here are a real inspiration to me to continue pursuing with my visions for creating alternatives for kids. As I mentioned earlier, we got the Kids Create initiative. That's my big initiative that I'm looking to get up and running. We will very soon be launching the first Kids Create space at the Kitchen in Croxley, which is a popular cake and coffee shop. So we'll start with a small group of, I think we're going to go for 10 to 13-year-olds, and it will essentially be a space in which the children will come, and I'll of course be there as the facilitator, and it'll be a case of, right kids, what are you interested in, or what are you passionate about, what do you want to create, and whether it's whether their idea is to create a positive news channel on YouTube, whether it's to organise a clean up the litter in the local park day, whether it's to organise a charity concert or to knit blankets for the homeless, whatever they come up with, if there's a group of them that feel passionate enough about it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be community level, it could be a more global issue. For example, if there were a group of kids concerned about the plight of the dolphins and the whales, and they wanted to create some kind of awareness campaign, that would be another example. But my vision is we're going to start here, one step at a time. But Chris and I have had quite a few discussions, and we can see this quite easily spreading around the UK. Obviously, it will involve identifying and training adults to do what I do, which I describe as holding space. That's the terminology that I use to describe it. It's holding space. It's not about imposing an adult agenda or interfering anyway. It's literally, I will hold the space and trust and empower you guys to create and innovate to your heart's content.
That's amazing.
That's the essence of it. And I've got no doubt that you two will be involved in this some way, because as I say, it's such a huge inspiration to me on my own journey.
Aww.
So thank you once again. We'll end the show there. Thank you very much, Kenzie. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for being there, sorting out the technical side for us.
Yes, thank you.
And folks, I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another show. Thanks so much for tuning in.